Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I wanted to talk about my low-buy art supply, my goals, and services. So, if you are new to my channel, I have a playlist that's about 40 videos long, and well, maybe it's 45 or something, of a no-buy art supply that I did in 2022. I will link that in the description box below, and you will see all the things that I came to realize as I went through and learned about myself. And then since then, 2023 and on, I've been doing a low-buy art supply. And one of my goals, oh gosh, sorry, my sleeves are covered in icing. Okay, one of my goals for this year was to finish using up every single sketchbook I own, because I have sketchbooks that date back to 2021, hence my no-buy in 2022. And in doing so, I went through and I found a couple that were half filled, so I have filled those. I have 2 bound sketchbooks left. We are about ready to hit September, so that's fine. And then I'm going to bind more. I have a roll of Strathmore 500 series paper. It's 100% cotton, but it's a little thin. So when I watercolor on it, I just typically do one-sided because I can make it bleed and transfer and stuff. So my goal, again, through this year is just to finish every single bound sketchbook I own, which I'm on task for that, so that's totally fine. I was going through and looking at all my stuff, and one of the reasons I really want people to sort of inventory what they have and go through what they have, because I think people don't realize how much they have. And I will throw up pictures of my cabinet that holds my art supplies. I have another little like dresser that holds my shipping supplies for when I used to do way more Etsy stuff and for commissions and things. So that's a completely separate deal, but I will show you where I keep my art supplies. It's nothing fancy. It's an IKEA cabinet. It's 6 shelf and 3 of them hold the media. So as I've been going through, I've really been honing in on what I use, but having an inventory of everything you own is super, super helpful. It makes it visually more easier to see what you typically lean towards and how often you use things, and to make sure you're sort of cycling things through them evenly. Especially if you're doing a no-buy art supply or a low-buy art supply, it tends to become like a slog 3/4 into the year, kind of right where we're at, in the fact that you want to add something new. You want to buy something, you itch to have an experiment and feel that motivation and inspiration from a new supply. So one of the ways to sort of trick your brain, if you will, is to reorganize all your art supplies. Like literally put them on different shelves, put them in different areas of your office, however you choose to do it, a studio, in different drawers of a desk, rearrange the top of the desk if that's where you have your stuff. Just absolutely change it up, because what happens is, I'm not any disrespect to people that collect, but I'm not a collector, I'm a creator. So my supplies aren't of, I need every single one of this series, because I'm collecting them. I'm just creating with them. So I don't have anything I consider clutter, but a good terminology would be clutter blindness. And that's sort of where your stuff kind of sits out or just exists, and you become kind of blind to it, and it becomes the norm, and everything kind of becomes old hat. And it's just, you see the things that are in front of your shelf and the things that are in back, and you just kind of lose focus of every single thing you own. So rearranging all your supplies spices up your brain and spices up your motivation and inspiration to look at your supplies differently and maybe start combining them differently, or just using one more than you typically do. And it's something you can do for free that really keeps you on track with your goals. So my goal in using all my art supplies and looking at clutter blindness is to I have where I keep my roll, my huge roll of paper. I also keep my fire extinguisher, because we have one on every floor of our house. Split level bungalows are a thing. And I had a couple rolls of paper. You're like, why? I'm going to throw up photos and show you what I did. So in 2019, I took wheel throwing pottery. And I absolutely did not know what I was doing, and it was tons of fun. And I took it in I think September or October of 2019. You can go through to the very beginning of my Instagram, but you'll have to scroll through thousands of photos and it may take you a while. But they're all on there, well, some of them. And you can see some of the creations I made. And what I did was I went to our local art supply store. It's more engineering, but they have some art supplies there. And I bought 2 sheets of huge paper, and they were 20 by 30 inch. I will throw up the metric conversion for folks. And all I did was like bend them, I arced them, and then put what I was photographing on it. So it looked like I had a professional, quasi-semi-professional setup for photographing my pottery. And I just wanted proof that I made things, because all this stuff I ended up giving away as gifts. I didn't keep very much. I made some pet dishes and some pie plates and stuff that I kept, but almost everything else, all the mugs and everything, and vases, I gave them all away. So it was a great year for Christmas gifts. All the kids' teachers got stuff. It was a lot of fun. I even had some little air plant holders and stuff. I don't even know if I could find photos of everything. But so I arched the paper, I stuck a thing there, and then I took a photo of it, and you see the item. And I primarily used the brown sheet. I bought 2 sheets of paper. I bought a gray one that I never used and a brown one. And I happened to find the color brown absolutely gorgeous. So obviously I played favorites. So these 2 rolls of paper have been rolled up since 2019. And I only ever used them like 5 times each for some photographs. Oh, Lucifer says hi. I'm not letting her out though. She's trapped with me in my bedroom office. Okay. So I didn't think about them. And then in 2020, I stopped doing pottery. So it was, yeah, I was about done right before the pandemic hit. I think I was done in like December or January of 2020. And I realized that the kind of clay body I liked had a lot of grit, a lot of like, it had a lot of texture in it, and it was chewing up my hands. And there was a lot of time with making it and then coming back and trimming it and then glazing it. And then, you know, it had to be fired twice. It was time intensive. So I had to decide, did I want to stick with drawing and art, or did I want to stick with pottery? And I ended up sticking with drawing and art. No regrets. I loved that I tried a thing. I loved that I did a thing, but the thing ended. So it wasn't like a long-term hobby or anything. It was a ton of fun, but it was just so rough on my hands because I didn't care for the really smooth porcelain clays. They were of no interest. I like really brown, earthy, gritty stuff. I don't know why. It's my brain. Anyway, so I took a lot of photos on the brown pieces of paper. The paper sat rolled up for years and years and years. And then last week, I was looking through all my supplies again going, okay, every last page, every last piece of paper that I have purchased, every surface I can create on needs to be filled out this year. This is my goal. And I looked at this roll of paper and seriously clutter blindness. And I was like, oh my God, that's paper I haven't used in years. Since 2020, I haven't used it for photographs. I can absolutely turn that into something for art. So I went to Sea Lemon on YouTube, and I love her channel because her videos are short, but they're thorough, and you can pause them, you can slow them down. She's really patient. I just love her tutorial videos. So if you're starting out in the bookbinding, sketchbook binding world, I love Sea Lemon tutorials because I'm very much a beginner. I'm very much terrible at it. I did not record anything of me doing it because even at 10 times the speed, it would be painful to watch how slow I am. Because again, beginner, but that's where you start. So I did my first one, and it's a saddle stitch, and it's crooked. But here's the gray paper, and I did ruin a sheet. And this one's a little chewed up at the bottom. But it has a sticker, and I kept, this is just embroidery floss. I added a couple beads. Let me zoom in real quick. I would totally record and show my process if it wasn't so painful to watch and to do. So yeah, so here's my crooked saddle stitch. But I tried. This was my very first time doing a saddle stitch. In her tutorial, she starts in the middle and then she tucks it in. But I started at the bottom and I added a couple beads just because I like, I don't know, I like the thing. So you could see on the back of the paper, this is Canford paper, Imperial, $1 Rowney. okay? And this is the Dreadnought Gray. So this is a sketchbook I am going to use. Now the brown. I love the brown. I used kind of more of a copper color and added a couple beads to the bottom. This is their mocha. Canson Mi Tienes has a tobacco that's really nice too. If you like brown paper, and I love brown paper. It's such a nice colored substrate for darker value range, and then you can do the whites and the lighter colors, the pastels or metallics. Everything looks great on dark brown. It's a fact. So I made myself a couple little sketchbooks, and these probably need to be pressed flat a little bit because they're a little bit wonky. But my Dogist, which is drawing every day in the month of August, I have a 48-page sketchbook I'm filling up with the end paper and the cover, so it's going to be 50 days. So I'm going to be drawing 20 days into September. That's going to be my August challenge still. And then I thought I would use at least one of these to round out September. And now I have these 2 extra sketchbooks from some paper I used as a background for my pottery. So every last page. Every last page is getting filled. Every last page is getting bound and used. The half-filled sketchbooks are already all full. I had 3 of those this year. Yeah, one I did not even know about. So it's been a very fruitful, productive year so far, and I hope to continue that. Looking to my purchase for next year. So because I do my Surface purchase in December, I do one purchase for the entire next year. So December of this year, I will purchase all my Surfaces for 2026. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bind 90% of the roll of paper I have left and make as many sketchbooks as I can squeak out. And the paper that's left, I like making birthday cards. Happy birthday. I will throw up some examples of birthday cards that I have made for folks. I'm not the best at remembering to photograph them, so I only have a couple years worth, but I make a lot of birthday cards. So if I have some weird pieces left, those will all be birthday cards, and then all the rest I'm going to bind. So we're going to see how many sketchbooks I can make from one roll of paper in November. That'll be a November video. And then I will have to calculate, like, do I have 6 months worth of sketchbooks? Do I have 9 months worth? How many sketchbooks do I need to buy? Hi, baby. To make sure that I have enough for 2026. If I decide to do what I've done this year, again next year, which is a drawing challenge every single month. Drawing every single day. I love drawing every single day. It's not always as organized as it is this year. I mean, in 2024, I just filled a Midori Habino, and then in 2023, I filled 2 Stalogy 365s. I just used them one-sided, so it took me 2 of them. But there wasn't really any drawing challenges within those. So this year has been sort of one sketchbook, 1 month, sort of, with some overlapping. But every last page is going to be put into a sketchbook, and then we will assess in November what I have to do for 2026 to stay with my low buy art supply, to stay with my goals, to make sure I have enough supplies, and then hopefully with all this binding I'm going to be doing, I can get better at sketchbook binding. And yeah, you either spend the time or you spend the money. So doing a low buy art supply, I cannot go out and buy 12 to 14 sketchbooks for a year. I just can't do it. It's not, price-wise, it's too expensive. I won't have any money left for my mediums purchase that I do in the summer. So, and that's when I kind of like to shop and browse and have fun and experiment. So, and I can link my summer mediums purchase haul video if you want to see that. I'll put that in the description box as well. Haul videos are always really popular. They're always really pushed. So a lot of artists and creators on YouTube really lean into haul videos because it's something that's so promoted and celebrated by the YouTube algorithm, but it sort of leans into consumption and consumerism. And I kind of want to keep to what I'm doing and set that example of we can just sit here and create and use what we have and love what we have and find different ways to use what we have and enjoy it. So I hope this video helped. I hope it inspired. Seriously, inventory your stuff. change your stuff around, spice it up, make it look interesting. I'll show you a picture of my desk if you want to see it. Yeah, I'll show you photos of things. So I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. I hope you enjoy this. Check out C Lemon's video for the saddle stitch. It's only 4 minutes long, but it's really, really good. So I hope your week is absolutely wonderful, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.